Look at that. That doe didn't see me. Welcome back, everyone. Silas here. Once again, I'm out in the woods. Don't know exactly what all we're going to be doing over the next couple of days, but I have a lot of things on my mind. Right now I'm looking for mushrooms. However, that's not going to be the only thing we're doing, so you're just going to want to stay tuned for the whole video, because like I say, lots of different things are going to happen, and I don't even know what they're going to be yet. I just got here. I haven't found anything yet. I'm actually on the bike today because I want to travel to a bunch of different locations, and so it's just going to be a lot faster, a lot easier to be able to do that on a bike. There we go. First one of the day. I've only been looking for maybe 5 minutes. Now this thing is super dry, like super dry. But I don't see it, it's not covered in bugs. I don't see any mold on it. Yeah, I think it'll be all right. I think it'll rehydrate. I'm probably going to be cooking these either today or tomorrow, so I'm okay with go ahead and saving that one. I think that's going to be the issue with any mushrooms I do find. It's just because this weather has been so dry this month that finding them that are still fresh is going to be a challenge. And of course, now that the season is ending, we're supposed to get a bunch of rain later this week. And that rain won't do these any good. It's a little bit too late, but that's okay. There's a common myth that if you get rain and cool temperatures late in the season, that it will rejuvenate the season and that fresh morels will start popping, but that's not 100% true. There might be a few anecdotes, a few anecdotes where that's true, but most of the time that is not the case. Number two, this one's a little bit fresher, not quite as hard. Honestly, I wasn't really expecting to find anything, so I'm pleasantly surprised. Here we go. This one's a little bit better. It was covered up underneath the leaf. Look at that, how it's growing right out of that moss. That's kind of cool. Yeah, even that one's a little bit dry. This is the last hurrahs over the next few days. Whatever I find is it for the season. Sometimes you can find them all the way into May, which actually by the time this video comes out, it'll be May anyway. I'm actually recording this in April. I've been recording almost every day, so there's no way I can release all these videos that fast. So they're going to stretch out into May most likely. But anyway, some years, oh my word, look at this big old monster right here. Well, it's not as big as those ones I found the other day, but still, that is a good sized mushroom right there. Size of the palm of my hand. Like I was saying before I forget, sometimes you can find these all the way into May, but this year will probably not be one of those years. Look at this one here. It never even got to get very big. Now normally when they're this small and they get dry, they just kind of crumble and fall apart. I can't even get this one to rip. There we go. You don't see them this late in the season that look like this still very often. I actually found some other mushrooms right in this area earlier in the year, and so that one was actually probably here. It was probably just too small to see. This area right here, about 3-4 years ago, I found a boatload of them right here, but these little trees weren't here then. All these little saplings, there were some here, but not this thick. And I keep coming back every year thinking I'm going to find more, and I've never found any ever since then. There we go. She's kind of sad, but it'll work. Actually, that one there, I don't think that one's even salvageable. That's really sad. I'm looking at it, it's clear full of ants and bugs. I don't think I'm going to mess with that one. We'll leave it behind. That's too bad, but at least I know they are growing in this area still, so I'll look around a little bit longer, and next year maybe I'll check a little bit sooner. Check out this little picnic spot. Somebody's got wind chimes, a picnic table, lights. They got wind chimes everywhere up here. This is kind of cool. One there. This one here must have fallen out of the tree. Huh. I have to remember this. I don't know exactly where I'm at. I'll have to look it up on the map. This make a nice picnic spot for the kids. Bring them out here. I think they'd enjoy this. Check this out right here. These little yellow flowers. I hope the audio is okay on this. It's so windy today. Incredibly windy. But look at all these. They're growing all through here. These are a North American perennial. I believe they're called the hoary puccoon or something like that. I don't remember the exact name. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, or something to that effect. The Native Americans would take this along with another plant that I can't remember the name of right now, and they would chew them together and it would make chewing gum, and this would dye it kind of a red color so it wasn't the same color as before, just for whatever reason. Just I don't know, why do people like colors? They also use the roots on these for medicinal purposes as a sedative and things like that. I don't need a sedative, so I'm not going to harvest this. I don't chew gum anyway, so we're going to let these be. I just thought they were interesting when we went past them. No more luck in that area. I checked another area with no luck, but then walking along this old dry creek bed, and boom, right there's one. I think this one's salvageable. Yeah, that one's salvageable. There's a zombie squirrel. I can't believe something didn't grab that and run off and eat it. It's not very often you see a complete squirrel laying on the ground. Ah. Oh man, that thorn tree just got me good. There's a thorn stuck in my hand. I need to carry a machete with me next time. You don't want to clear too good of a path because then everybody will follow after you. But be handy for these thorns. Well, that's absolutely wonderful. Somehow, some way, I must have popped the tube, probably running over a stick or something, and the tire popped off the rim, and so I can't ride the bike. And I have about a 2 mile, yeah, about a 2 mile hike through sand pushing an 80-pound bicycle. So this is going to be fun. I was going to check some more spots, but it looks like that's the end of this mushroom adventure, and I made it. Whew. That was a workout. I had a bunch more spots I was going to go check while I was out here, but in order to get to all those, either I have to hike a long ways or I got to ride a bike. And if I was having good luck, I'd go ahead and hike, but I haven't had the greatest luck today with finding mushrooms, so I think we're just going to call it quits on that, and I'm going to go on to the next thing. And just like that, I'm out at the lake. I got home and I got thinking about it, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to go camping tonight. I'm going to go out there. It's a little bit getting kind of late now. I want to cook dinner, stuff like that, so don't have any time for fishing today. But tomorrow morning I'm going to go fishing, maybe some mushroom hunting. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm out here looking now. If you remember my last video, it was bone dry, but I actually see a little bit of water out there now. Not much, but a little bit. I went home, packed up my truck, my trailer, everything, went shopping for some supplies. Yeah, there's actually a little bit of water way out there. I am looking forward to some relaxation. I took the whole week off of work. I do have to be back in town tomorrow night, but other than that, I'm going to be out here. It's still way, way, way down. Normally this is all water in here, water deep enough that you can get your boat out here. But I'm going to see if this water over here is deep enough to get the kayak in. If it is, I can go up the creek a little ways, maybe do a little fishing. Let's get a fire going first things first, because it's going to take it a minute. Of course, I forgot to get fire starter logs, but I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. Maybe. It's so windy out here, it's going to be a little bit hard to get it going. Can't believe I forgot to grab a fire starter log. Okay, we should be golden now. Oh yeah, look at that. No problemo. That took about 2 minutes to get it going good. I do need to go find some more firewood though, because tonight's dinner requires a fire. I could cook it in a pan, but it's so much better when you roast it over a fire. There we go, got that going. Tonight's dinner, fire roasted Spam. This is one of my absolute favorite campfire foods. I know it's just Spam, a lot of people don't care for Spam, but I kind of like it. But it's okay fried in a pan, but I really like it over a fire. Sometimes this stuff requires a little bit of persuasion. Losing everything. It is so insanely windy, and it's supposed to be windy all night and all day tomorrow. But it's been windy like this for the last, I don't even know, long time now. There we go. This is some fine dining right here. What I need is a cutting board. I forgot to bring one. What you want to do is just cut it into chunks like this. Doesn't have to be precise. That's good enough right there. Then you take your skewer and you just plunk them on there like so. You don't want them up against each other because obviously they won't roast all the way around. So you just want to kind of stagger them a little bit. Looks like we're only going to get 4. Well, maybe we can get 5 on there at a time. Yeah, we can do 5 at a time. So we'll go cook these and then we'll come back and cook the rest. I should have bought better sticks. These here are kind of short. There we go. I found just the right spot to hold them. Now they're cooking good. Spam is like hot dogs in the fact that it's cooked already, so you don't technically have to cook it. But when you cook it like this, it adds flavor and makes it taste way better. Like I say, this is my personal favorite way to cook spam, which is right over the fire. There we go. Oh, where'd my plate go? There it is out there. I forgot to anchor it down. Yeah, it's still clean. You can see the difference. And there is dinner. I have a little bit more over here yet to cook, but we'll cook it here in a little bit. I want to try this before it gets cold. I already said grace, so I'm just going to dig in and I'll let you guys know how it tastes. Look at that. Nice and crispy on the outside, soft and warm on the inside. I don't know what it is about cooking it over the campfire like that. Just the charred flavor it gives it. If you cook it in a pan, it just tastes really spammy. I know it's spam, but I'm not kidding. It really changes the flavor a lot when you cook it over a campfire like that. So if you've never tried it, you got to try it at least once. Them vultures are getting awful close. They're right overhead now. But check out this sunset. Beautiful. And this will be my living quarters for the next week. It's kind of disorganized right now. I'm not going to bother unloading it all today. Like I say, I've got to go back to town tomorrow. I don't want to leave my stuff out here. I'm going to make just enough room for me to be able to get in here and get on my cot. My sleeping bag's in there. I've got a blanket in there, a pillow up there. I might put a little bit of this in the back of my truck, but most of it honestly can just stay in here, and we'll get it back out when we get back out here either tomorrow night or on Wednesday morning. I brought my floor jack with me this time. Show it up there where it needs to be. Yeah, right about there, to help stabilize the trailer. There we go. While it's hooked up to the truck, it's really not that big of a deal. This does help stabilize it a little bit to where it's not as wobbly and bouncy. But when I unhook the truck, when I climb in here, it'll tip the whole trailer like that and dump it. So I have to have something back here. Normally I just put jack stands under it, but I figure this here would work a little bit better. I'll be cooking breakfast on this grill right here. But once I get back, I'll go ahead and set the big grill up and use it. Like I say, for tomorrow, I'll just use a little one, cook in a pan. I went ahead and loaded everything though, that way I don't have to go back by the house and load anything else. Later in the week, there's going to be a bunch of guys from church come out here as well. Wednesday there'll be a few, Thursday will be a few more, and then Friday will be quite a few out here, and then Saturday is the day that we usually all go back home. If you've watched my channel, you know what's up, you've seen it before, but I'm not sure what we're going to do tomorrow. We'll see what the wind's doing in the morning. If it's too windy in the morning, we may not bother going fishing, but if it's not super windy, we'll go do fishing first, then we'll cook breakfast. Otherwise, we'll probably cook breakfast, and then maybe I'll do a drive over, and I don't know, either we'll go drop the kayak in the creek or else we'll go mushroom hunting. I'm not sure which, but just stay tuned. Well, the sun has dipped below the horizon. You can't really see it on this camera, but the moon is rising. And the fire is starting to burn out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I forgot I got to get my battery bank out of the truck, my EcoFlow, put it in the trailer so I can keep my phone charged. But before I go to bed, I'm going to get me some dessert. Now, I don't know which of these I want. I picked up some moon pies and some oatmeal cream pies. I think I'm going to go with the moon pies. I haven't had one of these in quite a while. I saw those today. They had them out there because of the eclipse that we had a while back. They overstocked, so they were getting rid of them. So I went ahead and grabbed one of those. I think they're still good. Oh yeah, they're good to the end of the year. These things are so packed full of preservatives, they never go bad. I don't eat this sort of stuff all the time. I probably shouldn't eat it at all, but We're camping. Oh, these are little babies. That means I'm going to have two. Or maybe I can have one of these and one of these. Yeah, that's what we'll do. I'm going to enjoy my dessert. I'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning, everybody. I survived the night. It really wasn't that bad. We had a bunch of thunder and wind and lightning and stuff like that, but it never did rain. I was actually honestly kind of hoping it would rain. There are some dark clouds up there still. You can see back there behind me. It's a pretty dark cloud, so maybe it'll rain yet today. I don't know. I've been up for about an hour now, so I was thinking about it, and it's a little bit windy off and on. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is go ahead and do the mushroom hunting today instead of the fishing. One, just because of the wind. I'm sure over by where the dam is, it's pretty windy right now. But also, I've been hearing turkeys like crazy. I do know several of the guys that are coming out later in the week want to go turkey hunting, and so I don't want to be out mushroom hunting, spooking their turkeys. So I think what I want to do is I want to do the mushroom hunting today before everybody gets here, and then that way when they get here, I'm not out traipsing through the woods and scaring off all the turkeys. So what that means is we're going to start out with breakfast this morning. Looks like my vultures are back already. He's up early. The sun's not even hardly over the horizon yet. I'm not super hungry this morning. I never am in the morning. I always think I'm going to be, but then I just never am. I was going to cook those morels up. I was going to cook that plantain, going to cook a bunch of stuff, but I think I'm going to cook some more stuff for lunch. I'm just going to cook a small breakfast because I am going to need something. I'm going to be out in the woods for probably 3 or 4 hours. Now what I got today, I've never had before. It may or may not be any good. We're going to find out together. But I want to try this maple flavored Spam. Normally I eat Spam one time a year. There's 6 servings in one of these cans, and I ate a whole can last night, so that's my yearly limit. But I'm going to break the rule today, and I'm not going to eat the whole can this morning. Like I say, I'm not that hungry. I'm actually just probably going to cut a couple slices out of here and then save the rest for later. I don't know if you heard that turkey or not. But yeah, this time we're just going to fry it up in the skillet. I'm going to fire that up real quick. It's kind of hard to do one-handed. I guess I'll show you the final product. It is fried up and ready to sample for my drink. I splurge this time of year and I get energy drinks. I don't drink these nearly as often as I used to, but I figured, you know what? I'm being bad with the Spam. I might as well be bad with that too. I'm going to let that cool down for just a second, and then we're going to try it and see just how either good or gross it is. It smells good. It smells like maple. I guess we'll see what it tastes like. Make sure it's cooled down. No, I don't think that's good. It's kind of funky. I think it would be better if you had regular Spam and then you just put syrup on it. Eating it like that, it just tastes really, really artificial. Which I know most syrup you get at the store is artificial, but that's really artificial. I don't know, there's something about it that doesn't taste good. I'm gonna go ahead and finish what I have here, but the rest of what was in that can, I don't think I'm gonna eat that. I wish there would have been more guys here. I could have found somebody to eat it, but the raccoons will appreciate me. And with that, I've got my truck all loaded up and everything. I left the totes here on the table. I don't think anybody will mess with that stuff. I'll come back for it. I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna go to the first mushroom spot, check it out, and I don't know, we'll see what we can find today. Wow, check this out. This area is clear full of garlic mustard right here. I'll have to remember this spot. This isn't too hard to get to, so I'll come back when there's more guys here, because I've been telling everybody about how good garlic mustard is. Nobody believes me, so I'll cook some garlic mustard omelets for everybody. I'm not going to pick any of this today just because it'll spoil. It'll go bad before I have a chance to use it. But like I say, this isn't too bad to get to, so I can drive back over here and get to this pretty quick here in a couple days. No luck on the mushroom front yet. Here, when these trees first all fell over, boy, it was like the mother lode in here. I got dump truck loads of mushrooms out of here, but not so much this year. They're pretty rotted at this point, and I noticed that the grass is really starting to take over in here. So what really needs to happen is maybe burn this area out or something like that. If it did a good burn in here, these trees are pretty rotted. Most of these would burn up to nothing. About every 5 years or so they do a controlled burn, so hopefully they'll do that soon. It's been about 5 years since the last one, but we just started. We got a long ways to go, so I'm sure, well, I'm hoping we can find something. I say that, a few seconds later I found a bunch of mushrooms, just not the right kind. These are some mica caps, some ink caps, but they're really decayed. Nothing salvageable there. This area through here used to be really good mushroom hunting, but here a number of years ago a tornado came through out here and took out a good majority of all the big cottonwood trees that were in here. And so now, as you can see, it's kind of just a bunch of rotted logs. I mean, the first year it was really good mushroom hunting with all these freshly dead trees, but now it's getting overgrown by grass and shrubs and you name it. This used to be really good forest right through here, but that tornado wreaked havoc on it. It'll take many years for this area to recover, and honestly it may never recover like it used to be. I mean, for trees like this to grow takes 40, 50, 60 years. So I mean, it took a long time for these trees to grow in the first place. So it probably won't ever recover in my lifetime. Or if it does, I'll be too old to hike through here. I hope I never get to that point. One of the scariest thoughts that I can think of is that one day I may not be able to do this. Hopefully, that's a long ways off yet for me, but it still scares me. Man, you talk about a letdown. I was all sorts of excited when I saw that at first. But that's just a wasp nest. Or is that honeycomb? I can't tell. That might be. Yeah, it's no good anymore, but that was honeycomb there. I wonder. Oh, there must have been a, wonder if there's any honey left. Looks pretty well ransacked. But there was a nest in this tree. Look at all that. There's a little bit of honey left in that, but not much. It's pretty far gone. The critters done got all that. That would have been neat to find that a little bit sooner. That old hollowed out tree was hiding a secret. Oh yeah, here's a whole bunch of it. This whole tree must have been clear full of it. I've never found fresh honeycomb. I found a lot of it like this, but I've never found it fresh before. Of course, if you find it fresh, then you got to fight the bees for it. But you know, bee stings don't really bother me, so I would fight them for it if I found it fresh. What's left of an armadillo, and then you can't really see it very good. It's down in there, that little white dot right there. That's a dried up, or starting to dry up puffball. If I would have found that probably a week sooner, that would have been a good edible one. Those little white puffballs like that are edible, but only when they're small. We got here. If we get rain this week like they're saying, that patch of mushrooms right there is going to come to life pretty good because they're pretty fresh out of the dirt. Those are mica caps. Thunderheads keep rolling over the top of me, but so far it hasn't rained. I got a few sprinkles on me a minute ago, and my phone said that precipitation starting in my location in 15 minutes, but that was about 15 minutes ago and nothing's happened since then, so I don't know. There's a 50-50 chance of rain pretty much every day this week, so we'll see what happens. What do we got here? I see over there's a bunch more garlic mustard growing. There's some there, and there's some over yonder, and there's some right over there I just walked past. Then I was walking over here and I noticed something different. Got these yellow flowers here. Now I'm not entirely sure which one these are, but these are some variety of mustard. They could be dog mustard, although they're a little bit vibrant. The yellow is, so I'm thinking it's probably it's London Rocket, I think is what it's called. But I do know that these are definitely a variety of mustard. So these are edible. This is quite a ways back up in here, so I'm going to go ahead and harvest some of these. These are really juvenile plants here. They're really young. They haven't grown hardly at all, so must be pretty early in the season for them. You don't usually see these around here. Sometimes these get a little bit spicy though, so I'm going to pick one of these heads like this and go ahead and eat this and see just how hot it is. If it's too hot, I may not save it. Yeah, this is the good variety here. Sometimes this stuff is pretty spicy, but this one here has got a little bit of a kick to it, but it's also got a sweet flavor to it. So this is the good one here. I'll tell you what, it's got some after kick that kicks in after you eat it. So that one is a little bit spicy, but it was sweet when I ate it. So I think if it was mixed with something else, it'd be pretty good. But by itself, it definitely has a kick to it, an after kick. But since I'm already picking stuff, wild edibles like that, I'm going to go ahead and pick some of this while I'm here. As you can see, it grows all through here. This is all garlic mustard here. That's what's cool about mustard, is most wild mustard is edible. Actually, I think all wild mustard is edible, but don't quote me on that. And at least here in Kansas, this stuff grows everywhere because it's invasive. This stuff's really invasive. So that type of mustard over there isn't quite as invasive, at least not in this area. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pick some of this. The flowers are edible, but they kind of just fall apart, as you can see. So I'm mainly just gonna go for the leaves. And I'm gonna go for the small tender leaves. The big leaves are okay, but you have to chop them up, and I don't have a food processor with me, so I don't want to have to manually chop up big leaves. The cool thing about wild mustard is it's very nutritious, very good for you. I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but there's more vitamin C per gram in this stuff than there is in an orange. Here we go. Here's another edible wild green. This is called henbit. Ow, man, I just walked right into that thorn tree with my leg. That hurt. But anyway, it's actually a little bit late in the season. A little bit earlier in the year, you probably see this stuff growing everywhere. Everybody thinks it's just a weed, but like dandelions, this is completely edible. The flowers, the stem, the leaves, everything is edible on these. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick some of these to add to my salad. I guess that's what we're doing today, is making a salad. Oh, here's some with a bunch of flowers on them. Yeah, you'll see whole fields of this stuff earlier in the year, like early April, late March. It's called henbit something. I forget the second part of the name, but everybody just calls it henbit. It's really high in iron, I believe, so a lot of nutritional value in that as well. It might be a little bit hard to see on this camera, but I think you can get the gist of it. That henbit is growing everywhere in here. All these purple flowers everywhere. This whole area out here is clear full of it. Check out what I just found. Now, we're way too early for these, but I am 99% sure that these are riverbank grapes, is what these are called. I forget the scientific name, but they're called riverbank grapes or frost grapes. They're fairly common around here. Not super common, but fairly common. The leaves are edible. The grapes are edible once they're ripe. Obviously, they're nowhere near ripe right now. They're kind of bitter tasting though, but they make a really good jam or jelly. These young leaves like this though, they are edible. However, the thing about them is that they're kind of sour. They're not very good tasting at all. I would compare them to eating like a, I don't know, like a really, really unripe mulberry or something like that. But if you mix them in with other stuff within a regular salad, you just put a few in there. There's some good nutrition value in those. And I guess it's probably an acquired taste. A lot of people love them, so I don't know. They're not my favorite though. I might pick a few of them just to add to this, but not too many. I'm definitely going to come back though once these are ripe and pick some of the berries or grapes, whatever you want to call them. Are grapes a berry? I don't know. I don't claim to be an expert in all things. I'll have to Google that and find out, because now I'm curious. Also, if you can find little tendrils where they kind of come off and wrap around these branches like this, but you have to find them before they wrapped around anything. They turn to a real woody type deal if they're too old. I think we're a little bit late in the season for that. Too early for the berries or grapes, or man, I'm going to have to look that up because now I'm really curious. Hey Siri. Are grapes berries?
Yes, grapes are berries.
According to Siri, grapes are berries. Here's some more mustard. I do want a few more flowers to add to. Oh, there's a whole bunch of it growing over here. Look at this. Tons of it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll go through and pick a little bit more of it to add to my salad. No, don't see any. This is the second year in a row that I haven't found any in this area. Well, here a few years ago, I found like 10 pounds just right here in this one spot. It was insane. They are growing like carpet, big ones too. And then there was another spot down here that I picked another 4 or 5 pounds. I thought maybe we would find 1 or 2, but so far we haven't found any. Now normally this area here is a really good area. I have found some in this area every single year, but I noticed the grass is starting to encroach even in here. I don't know if we'll find any or not, but we're going to look around pretty thorough. I also noticed that a lot of these trees are really starting to dump their bark, which means the nutrients are disappearing out of the trees pretty quickly, which means there may or may not be anywhere else. Well, we're getting sprinkled on. It's not a heavy rain, just a real light sprinkle. The humidity is starting to shoot through the roof. I'm about to shed this coat. I just can't believe that we didn't find 1 mushroom in there of any kind. That's pretty wild to me. I mean, I didn't expect it to be a bumper crop with the drought that we've had. But I was thinking, you know, maybe we'll find 1 or 2 or 3, but we didn't find nothing. I'm kind of walking along and scanning through here. The trees aren't that thick over there, so if there is anything, I'll see it. Well, there's something. A bunch of dried up winter oysters all over this tree. But that's not what we're looking for right now, but it's more than we've found for a while. See, this tree is a prime candidate. Not too far from the water. All the bark is still on it. A little bit of life left in it. But I don't see anything. It's a little bit too young to pick, but I believe that's lamb's quarter down there. But that's just, I mean, that's the size of my pinky nail, those leaves, so I'm not going to mess with those. But here in about another month or so, there'll be a bunch of that growing. And that's all edible as well. Look at that. That doe didn't see me. Came running out of the woods. Right over here somewhere. And it ran right past, almost ran into me. It was running right towards me for a second. I was getting ready to dodge it. Crazy thing. That thing got so close I could hear it panting. I can see it going into the trees over there. Big old white tail. There might be a baby over here. If there was, you'd never see it in this grass. Those fawns, they can blend in. I've walked right up on them before out fishing along the river. Back when we used to have water in the river. We're going to cut in right through here. That first year after that tornado and all these trees blew over, this was a really good area. The next year was decent, and I've never found anything since, but we're going to go ahead and look. But look how overgrown it's getting with shrubs and grass and whatnot. So actually, I don't know that we're even going to bother going through there. I've already got scratches all over my face from yesterday. I don't really want to add to them. 2 more deer just went that direction, right over there. I have yet to find any deer sheds this year either. But we're getting really late in the season for deer sheds now. Maybe that's something we'll do next winter, is go out shed hunting. Usually shed hunting is about two months or so before morel hunting. This is another normally really good area for morels, but I've never seen it this green before. All this grass and everything. So there's one of 2 things going on. In late March, we had one halfway decent rain, and then it got really warm, like up into the 80s warm. And so I think that triggered a lot of the dormant plants that were underground, like the grasses and whatnot, because I noticed a lot of grasses around town were getting green way earlier than normal. So I think that's what happened, is it triggered all these things to start growing way earlier than normal. And so what would normally be in May, they're doing in April. The other possibility is that this area has not flooded in 5 years, 6 years now. And a lot of times floods will come in and wash all this stuff away and clear the ground to where it can start over again. Here's a flashlight, and here's some ink caps. Pretty sure that's what these are. Clear full of roly-polies. Yeah, these are just regular ink caps. They're starting to decompose though, so they're a little bit too far gone. I can never seem to catch those at just the right time. They only last for a couple days. Morels, once they pop up, as long as conditions are right, they'll last for a little while. But those will not. Oh, look over here. A skull off of something. Got a big old spider hiding down in the jaw. Big old wolf spider. I don't really have anything to carry it in, or else I would save it, because I sell those skulls like that. Put 4 or 5 of them together. You can get 20, 30, 40 bucks out of them, depending on what they are. But I'll let the spider keep it. It's kind of creepy to think about, isn't it? A spider living inside a skull. Like I've said before, you always check the root ball of a tree that's fallen over like this. But even once they're long dead like this one here. Oh, this must have had oysters. Or no, what is that? Oh, is that what's that called? I forget what this fungus is called now. It's called deer vomit. That's what it's called, not snot fungus. It's a slime mold is what it is. But I'm pretty sure that's like a really young deer vomit. I know it's a really graphic name, but that's just what it's called. For obvious reasons. That stuff is absolutely nasty looking. I don't know if it's edible or not, but even if it was, I wouldn't eat it. All this perfectly good ground, and this critter here decides that this log is his bathroom. And it wasn't just one time. It looks like it's been multiple times. Must be a raccoon, because I know raccoons will make quote-unquote bathroom areas that they'll use multiple times. You always see them in the trash. That's where they're called trash pandas. But they're actually somewhat clean animals, and they never use the bathroom where they sleep. They say they taste good too, but I don't know about that. I'm not much of a hunter-gatherer. I'm just a gatherer. I'll let somebody else do the hunting part. I am A-okay with cows and chickens and stuff like that. If somebody else caught one, cooked it and all that, I would try it. But I don't know, that's a lot of work to catch your own. I say that as I'm out here hiking for miles to get a few bites of salad. Here's a couple more of those grape plants. That'll be good to mark on my thing. That way I can come back to those maybe. So it's not a wasted day for sure, but I was hoping to find at least a few mushrooms. Fresh ones too. I don't want to find any more dried up ones. I want to find some at least halfway fresh ones. There we go. There's some treasure. It's a glass bottle. Not sure what that is. Kind of an interesting shape. I guess we'll get out the handy dandy Google app real quick. Let me set my backpack down. That Google image search app they have, I'll tell you what, sure is handy. Like that deer vomit, when I couldn't identify it, just took a picture of it and boom, able to identify it. No, I'm not seeing it. There's so many different glass bottles out there that find one exactly like this. That one's kind of similar but different. Yeah, it's hard telling exactly what it was. If you recognize that bottle and you know what it is, let me know in the comments. Speaking of that, I always forget to mention it until the end of the video, but if you could give this video a thumbs up, that really helps it in the algorithm, helps me out. That's one way of supporting me without spending a penny. Watching the videos helps to support me, but also if you give this video a thumbs up, that also supports me. And dropping a comment does too. Oh, there goes a deer. That looks like not a very big deer, so that must not a baby, but oh, there goes two of them. There goes a second one. See, that one's a little bit bigger there. Probably can't see them on the GoPro, but that's the two I saw earlier. They both look pretty small though, so I wonder if that was the mama I saw earlier and she was trying to get me to chase her, is why she went so close to me, to protect her two babies that are now going the opposite direction that she went. But we're gonna keep looking through here. Right over that way a little bit further is where I found my personal best mushrooms I've ever found, two of them side by side. Those that's one of the first videos I put on this channel if you want to go check it out. That was last year. That was a ton of fun finding those. Tons of garlic mustard here, but I'm not sure what this other plant is. A big leafy green plant, but I see something growing on this tree. Is that some fresh oyster? Oh man, it's kind of borderline, but I think, yeah, that's still soft enough. There we go. There's some mushrooms. Not the mushrooms we were looking for, but it'll work. And of course, I have my knife right here in my pocket, and evidently it snagged a tree and fell off. I lost my nice Benchmade knife the other day. That was really depressing. I have no clue where I lost it at, somewhere out in the woods. And now I lost my El Cheapo too. I need to get me another Benchmade one of these days. I really like that knife. That was a good one. But I want to get one that's on like a lanyard or something like that, that I can put on my neck rather than on my pocket, because on my pocket, way too easy to snag. I have a plastic knife in my backpack that'll work for cutting those. I'm just looking around for morels. I marked on my map here a few years ago that I found morels in this area, so before I go trampling them, I just want to double check. But that's definitely exciting, being able to find that oyster. Those will cook up. What do we got there? Oh, a broken bobber? Huh. I save those for my foraging treasure. Not seeing any morels though. I'm trying to be pretty thorough. Don't want to miss any. Those big old monsters I found are actually just right over there. We'll go check that out in a minute, see if there's any there this year. There we go. Some fresh raisins. Those are some really fresh raisins. Probably out of those deer that I just scared. Oh, right there. There's one right there. Bingo. That's pretty cool. That's why I marked this spot on my map, because I found them here many times, and that one's not all dried up. So that's a good sign that any that we do find out here are probably still going to be good. See if we can find any more, or if it's just the one lonely one. That's pretty cool, finding oysters and a morel side by side. Those oysters are right there, and the morel's right there. Oh, check out that on this tree over here. That is wild. That is crazy. Huh. Don't see any more morels, so we'll go ahead and pick this one here. See, that's the way I like to feel them. When I pinched that one off, it just pinched off easy. It wasn't all rubbery like those ones the other day, or yesterday. Make sure there's no roly-polies in it. Yeah, it's a little bit dry to the touch, but not bad at all. Not nearly as bad as the ones that I was picking before. We're a lot further north today than what we were then, though. There's a bunch of oysters growing right there, all along there. Looks like some over there that are all dried up now. There we go. I got some of it. A lot of that's even getting pretty hard, a little bit too hard to use, but I got enough of it for me to cook. Oh, there's even more growing down in there. Huh. That's a little bit softer, as long as it's probably covered. Yeah, it's all covered in bugs. I got enough off of that, we'll be fine. That there would rinse off. If that was too dried out, I would go ahead and save that, but I don't need it. And there's more growing down there. There's a bunch of really dried up stuff there. So that'll be plenty for me. If we would have found that about a week later, it would have been too far gone. Or even just a few days, probably. It's supposed to get pretty warm later in the week. That's what's crazy is they're talking rain, but they're also talking high temperatures. Supposed to be up in the mid 70s to 80s, which is pretty warm for this time of year. Like even last night, most of the night, I slept in a t-shirt with no blanket. And finally, about 3 or 4 o'clock this morning, I had to get a blanket out. It was pretty warm last night. Let's see here, somewhere, where were they? They were right over up in these trees is where I found those other big ones. But as I've mentioned before, they do like to move around. That mycelium is a big underground network, and you never know where they're going to pop up. So I want to start out here on the outer edge on this side and kind of work my way in. And we may not find any. Oh, I see one right there. Looks like something knocked it over. A deer or something running through here. Man, I don't know. That's pretty iffy. If that hadn't been knocked over, that in there probably would still be salvageable, but it's pretty dry. But it's not that dry, it's still pliable. So I think we'll go ahead and save it for now. I'm gonna try to get these roly-polies out of there, but we'll save it for now. But that means there's one here. I don't see the base of it, but there might be more mushrooms growing. So we're definitely gonna check this area. What do we got here? I bet you that's the stem off of that one I just found. Looks like something was munching. Yeah, something was munching on this one. So that means if there were any in this area, they may have gotten eaten. That's kind of a bad sign. Well, technically that piece there is edible, but the stems never taste as good as the heads. But we're going to search this area pretty thorough now that I've found that. Hopefully there's some more growing here that nothing already ate. That's the thing about morels, is they have a pretty strong smell, and lots of critters like to eat them. You know, honestly, I'm surprised that we ever find any at all. No luck yet, but look at this big old cluster. Pretty sure these are mica caps here. There's some fresh ones right there. That's crazy. Find that one nice mushroom in those oysters, and then we find that dried up one that was knocked off, and then that half-eaten one, and then nothing. There's water not too far from here, so this area isn't super dry. Maybe we'll find some. Oh, guys, right there. There's another giant one. It's doubled over on itself, and it's pretty dry. It's been getting a lot of sunlight out here. It's still a really big one. We're gonna pluck it and see how big it is. I'm gonna lay the bag down next to it for now, and we're gonna look around and see if there's any more here. What's crazy is those giant ones I found, I didn't find for like another 5 days from now last year, and they were still good and fresh. And we had less moisture last year than we did this year. But this year has been a lot warmer too, so maybe that's it. All I see is just that one. Of course, we found the partially eaten one and one that was knocked over, so it's very possible that if there were more, the critters done beat me to them. Oh, here's one. If we can get to it through all these trees, shrubs. Yeah, this is definitely salvageable. A little on the dry side, but still completely usable. Get the roly-polies off of it. Squat down and scan the area. See if there's any more. Oh, there's one right there. Yep, that's why you always squat down. Yeah, these are getting a little bit dry. I was so excited when I found that very first one because it was still so moist. I thought they were all going to be moist, but all the ones we're finding now are dry. But hey, those are still very usable. Oh my, there's another big one over there. If I can get to it, you can probably even see that one on the GoPro, it's so big. Man, I should have came out here about a week ago. That's a pretty good sized one there. Clear full of roly-polies. But there's a good chunk of that that's still usable, so we'll see if we can get some of those guys out of there. That last batch I took home and dehydrated it's kind of freaking everybody out, all the bugs that were in it. Yeah, you just take all this sort of stuff off, just leave it behind. Yeah, it's very salvageable. Most of that is anyway. If I would have found that about a week ago, that would have been a real nice one. I guess I should have came out sooner. It was an early year. I was finding morels earlier this year than normally do, so oh well. Next year I'll have to remember that if stuff starts happening earlier in the season, I need to come out here and check it a little bit sooner. There's one there that's, man, that thing's brick hard. I'm not even gonna bother saving that one. We'll just let it sit. Actually, I think all the spores are probably long gone out of that, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick it. Yeah, it's got mold growing. I'm gonna take it and chuck it somewhere over there. That way, just in case somebody hikes through here later, they won't find it as easy. So nobody else will know about this spot except for me. My mushrooms. Although really, somebody should have came through here about a week ago, like I'm saying. Oh, there's one there that's definitely savable. I'm glad we're finding mushrooms at least. Yeah, something knocked the top of that one off, but it's not full of bugs. And it's still pretty fresh, so we'll save it. My bag is over there next to that big one still. We'll get over there in just a second. I'm just making sure I don't miss any before I go over there. I left that bag there as a reference point, and I grabbed my other bag out. I'm going to put all the mushrooms in this bag anyway, so I don't crush all my wildflowers. Oh my word, look at this one. This is an oyster, but this thing is huge. Wow, there's a chunk of meat right there. Definitely, if that's not covered in bugs. Oh yeah, it's still soft and pliable. Oh yeah. I don't want to save the whole thing. This area up in here is probably pretty hard, but all this on this outer rim is all going to be good stuff. But I want to get some pictures before I pick it. But man, look at that thing. Good and healthy still. It's just starting to get old, but it's still plenty fresh. It's not as good as my regular knife, but this plastic knife will work. Let me make sure it's not covered in bugs first. Yeah, it's good to go. Yeah, you can feel the texture difference. You get too close to that base and it's really, really tough. I could just rip the whole thing off and take it back and trim it up back at camp, but I want to leave it here so it can spread spores. But yeah, look at that. That's good. That's a good chunk of mushroom right there. I'm really happy with that. We'll see if we can cut some of this one out too. Oh yeah, man, that's going to be delicious. I love oyster mushrooms. Not quite as good as morels, but they're still pretty good. Well, I'm not finding any more morels, so I guess we'll go ahead and pick this big boy that was probably a really big boy not too long ago. Kind of looking sad now, but and in fact I don't think it's even salvageable. We're going to go ahead and pick it anyway just so we can get a good picture of it. Boy, in all its glory, if that thing was standing upright with the big head on it still, that thing would be absolutely massive. Some of that stem I think is actually still salvageable. Like I say, it's not as good as the heads, but I mean there's still a lot of meat there. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. I mean that's a big bite of mushroom right there. I can cut that up into several pieces. That'll be fine. Mix that in with an omelet, that'd be pretty good. By itself it wouldn't be much good like sauteed, but mix it in with an omelet, good enough for me. We're getting quite the bag of mushrooms right there. And of course we still have our salad, so looking pretty good. I'm going to keep hiking a little bit longer. This is about the end of this stretch here, so we found these in the very last stretch. We found all the salad stuff at the beginning part and the mushrooms at the back part. Oh, there's one. Looks like there was two, but the head of one's gone, but that one's still salvageable. Oh yeah, that and there's still good and fresh. There's some more oyster. Looks like something ate a bunch of that one though. There's a big old lobe still on there though. We'll see if it's covered in bugs. Yeah, it's still soft. I think it's good to go. Oh yeah. Oh, it's hard to do without a knife. I don't want to get my knife back out. We'll trim it up a little bit when we get back. Oh yeah, that's a good one there. Just got to trim it up a little bit. One piece of really good news that I've noticed is like this tree here that's just fallen over was chewed down by a beaver. This one here is dead. It'll probably fall over within the next year because of a beaver chewing on it. That one there, yeah, there's no leaves growing on it either. So that beaver was wreaking havoc on these trees, but I don't see any fresh chewed ones. All these trees that are falling over in this area are all done by a beaver, but I haven't seen any fresh beaver marks. So I think hopefully that beaver has bit the dust. Can't stand those things. That's an animal there that once again they say is really good eating, that I might actually try, that I might actually do the work and everything just because I don't like them that much. But I think we are just about done. I'm kind of working my way through here, one last little area. After this, I think I'm going to make the hike back to the truck. We'll see what time it is, if I have any more time to check any more spots, or whether I'm going to head back. Yeah, here's some more beaver carnage. That one there still has life up in it, so I don't know, maybe it'll survive. It'll survive until the next 100-mile-an-hour wind comes through. Catfish. I bet he got stranded because this spot here is a little bit lower than this right here. So I bet this was still full of water. And he got stuck there and couldn't make it back out to the other water. You can see it's still going down pretty good. We desperately need some rain. Hard to believe that just right up there ahead of me a little bit was a really, really good spot for a trout line once upon a time. There's a nice beaver den back there. This will be a really nice catfish spot once it fills back in with water, if it fills back in with water. This is actually where we used to set trout lines all the time. We'd tie off to these dead trees right here and put a T-post out there further in the water and run a trout line. It was always a really good spot for catfish. The wind is pushing it this way. All this is probably going to fill back in with water with the wind pushing it like this. Somebody lost their hat. Has been there a while. Well, I made the executive decision. Rather than cook lunch out here, it's about noon right now. I'm not super hungry yet, which is shocking because I hiked a lot of miles. But I'm going to go ahead and head back home. I'm going to bring back some firewood with me. I'm going to go by and get my lawn chair. I'll probably run by the store and buy a couple fire starter logs just in case it does rain, that way I can keep a fire going. So I figured it would be good for me just to go ahead and head back now. We'll cook lunch at the house. Well guys, I'm finally home. I was gonna come home a long time ago and the workers were here painting, and so I couldn't come in here because they were busy. I didn't want to be in their way. Finally, as they were finishing up, that's when I went ahead and came home and I got all the mushrooms processed. Some of the oysters I put in the dehydrator, some of them, after I rinsed them, I wrapped them in paper towels and put those in the fridge. That way we can cook those tomorrow. The morels, a lot of those are pretty dry, so I am soaking those in water. Normally I don't do that. Oh, I just got out of the shower, by the way. That's why my hair is like this and I'm wearing something different. But anyway, I don't normally soak morels. It leaches some of the flavor out, but that was really the only way of doing it. So not a whole lot of choice. And then once you start soaking them, you have to leave them soaking. So I'll just leave them in there till tomorrow. Like I say, they'll lose some flavor, but they'll still be fine. But anyway, finally, I am going to eat this right here. For dressing, I put a little bit of olive oil, some salt, some pepper. I was going to put some vinegar on it too, but I didn't realize we didn't have any vinegar here at home. So I'm just going to have to stick with that. Basically, when you mix all those ingredients together, it makes a vinaigrette, but I don't have the vinegar, so I can't make the vinaigrette. That salad spinner is pretty cool. I've never had one of those. That worked fantastic And it worked great for drying the morels too, the oysters that I'm keeping, because those can't soak. Those will get ruined if they soak. So that was definitely a good, I think, $12 purchase. But anyway, here we go. Let's see what this salad tastes like. It's pretty good. We could definitely use the vinegar though for the vinaigrette. Now the greens themselves are completely edible. You don't have to put salad dressing, but it just makes it taste a little bit better. I'm glad that I put those grape leaves in there. That adds a different flavor, that sourness combined with the bitterness of some of the others, and then the heat of the mustard, and then the sweetness of the henbit. When you combine all those flavors together, it's actually not bad at all. It would actually taste really, really, really good if it had some ranch dressing on it, but that kind of defeats the purpose of making a healthy wild green salad. It looks like I'm not going to make it back out there tonight, unfortunately. It looks like I'm not going to make it back out there tonight, unfortunately. I've got a couple things going on tonight. Then I have to go run some errands. I still need to load up my cooler since I'm going to be staying out there the rest of the week. So I've got to load that up with ice and food and everything else. And by the time I get all that done and get back out there, it would be 11:30 or midnight. So I am just going to stay here, and then I'll get up early in the morning, hit the road, and hopefully get out there super early. That way I can do one more day or maybe half a day of mushroom hunting. And then after that, I'll be done with the mushroom part of it. So I want to finish this salad. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is just the day 1 and 2, I guess, of this adventure. I'll probably do, I'm guessing, 2 more videos. While I was coming back from picking all this stuff and these mushrooms today, I saw something really cool. I think I want to explore there. That'll probably be a video of its own. If enough stuff presents itself, I might even do a 3rd video. I don't know. We'll see. So just stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. As always, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. And remember to get out there, try new things, and find an adventure. We'll see you next time.